In this segment, we'll discuss what to do if your N5 processor turns on, but you do not hear any sound. If your N5 processor turns on, but you do not hear any sound, you'll want to check your settings, the coil, and the cable to make sure they are working. Let's start by checking the settings on your processor. Your audiologist will have set default volume and sensitivity settings on the processor. Using your remote assistant, press both of the lower buttons at the same time. You'll see an option to reset your processor. Choosing Reset will reset the volume and sensitivity and other settings to the settings your audiologist gave you. If you still do not hear any sound, you'll want to make sure that the telecoil is turned off if your audiologist has programmed one. To do this, check the display of your remote. If you see a symbol with a line through an ear in a black box, you'll want to press the button on the left side of the remote to turn off the telecoil. The telecoil should be activated only when using the phone or when an induction loop is being used. If your telecoil is not active and your volume sensitivity settings are set at their defaults, then you'll want to check if your coil and cable are working properly. First, tap the Cochlear button on your remote. You should see an image of a processor and a coil with a coil out of position. Take your coil and place it under the remote. If the remote shows a symbol of a processor with green communication lines coming from the coil, then you know that your cable is good. If your remote continues to show that a coil is removed from the head, then your cable is bad. Replace the cable by pulling the cable directly out of the processor and the coil. Take the spare cable and insert it into the coil and the processor with the cable facing the bottom of the processor. Now put the coil over the back of the remote to see if you get the green communication lines. If you do not see the green communication lines, next replace your coil with a spare. To do this, pull the cable apart from the coil and replace it with a spare coil. If you continue to have no sound after replacing the cable and the coil, then you'll want to contact Cochlear at 1-800-483-3123.